Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel Brad Cooks, and today I'm going to be making a garlic and butter basted steak. This is really easy, and so let's get started. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to season your steak, and so I like to just go with some simple olive oil first and salt and pepper. So we're just going to go on top of the steak with some olive oil, and we're just going to rub the steak down with all that. So it gets a little messy here, but it's alright. So you just want to coat that steak in all the olive oil. After you've coated your steak, you're just going to go on with some salt, and you just want to nicely season all that up. You just want to get every little bit of the steak, and then you can go on with some pepper, just freshly cracked black pepper, and that's perfect. And now we're going to flip our steak over and do the exact same thing to the other side. So our steak has been seasoned, and what I like to do is, since I didn't really get the sides, which normally happens anytime you season, you can just roll around on the cutting board on all the sides and make sure you get that nicely coated. And it might look like I got a little bit too much like salt, maybe even too much pepper, but this is perfect because you want a lot of seasoning for the perfect steak. So now you can just get all the extra seasonings off the cutting board. Now you have perfectly seasoned steak. And I like to let this rest for 20 to 30 minutes. And you can always, if you're doing this for dinner or something like that, you can let it rest for hours before that. But really, all I think you need is nice 30 minutes. So I'll see you when we have this rested. Alright, so while your steak is resting, you can prepare your butter and garlic. So the butter, I have about 3 tablespoons right there, and I'm just going to let that sit. And now I have some garlic. So what I like to do to peel garlic the best way is to first, the garlic is in this peel, and you can take time to peel, but that might take a while. So with your knife, you can just go down like this, just crush it up like that, and then this will make it a lot easier to get that peel off of the garlic. And just like that, we have the peel off. And then I like to just cut off the root end of the garlic, just like that, and now you have your garlic ready. So now we're just gonna do that multiple times for a few cloves of garlic. Now I'm gonna go with about 4 cloves of garlic. These cloves aren't huge, so they're gonna be perfect for this one steak. And this steak, for reference, is almost a pound. So it's nice thick cut and all. So I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna crush up the rest of my garlic. I did want to mention, when cutting garlic this way, you want to make sure to put the blade of the knife away. But if you put it forward, you could cut yourself, but this way it's nice and you're not really gonna hurt yourself. Now, I have the steak, butter, and garlic ready, and the reason I like smashing the garlic, not just to peel it, but also because when you smash it, it helps to get all the garlic flavors and aromas out, and this will help when basting the steak to get an overall better flavor. Alright everyone, so we have our cooking station set up here. We have a pan, we have our steak, butter, and garlic, some tongs, and we have some olive oil. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put some olive oil in your pan, just enough to cover the bottom. So that should be good. And then we're just going to turn the pan on a medium to a medium high. You just want to get it to a nice high heat, so when you put the steak in the pan, it sizzles nicely. So in a moment, I will explain the cooking process when you're basting steaks, because it's different than just cooking a normal steak. So a good indicator of when you know your pan is hot is when you can see little ripples in the oil. So you can kind of see a slight amount of movement. You can't really see it here yet, but when it gets hot, you can see a slight amount of movement, and this is when you know that you'll get a nice sizzle when you put the steak in the pan, and that's perfect. Alright everyone, so it looks like our steak is ready to go in. The oil seems hot, so we're going to pick up our steak and we're going to lay it in, but it's important we lay it face down away from us so it doesn't splatter on us. So that sizzle is exactly what you want to hear. And when you cook and you baste, you just want to have a really high heat and get a good crust on both sides. So we're going to get good crust here, and then we're going to flip, get another good crust. That'll take maybe 45 to a minute if you're on a nice heat. And you just want to get a crust on each side. And then you're going to turn the heat down, toss in the butter and garlic. I'll see you when we do that. I know it's pretty loud, it's sizzling, but as you can see, we got a nice crust here. You can see it's nice and dark. We don't have any gray spots, just really right here, but that's barely anything. We got a nice crust. And now we can just keep pressing down and wait for a good crust on this side. Just another minute, minute and a half right here. All right, so we've gotten a great crust on both sides, and now we can also just sear the fat cap a little, which is the large fat on the side, if we can get it up. It's so tender already. Oh, we got it. So now you can just go on the side a little right here. And you really just want to get that fat crispy. We already got a little bit of crisp right there. But anyways, I don't want to overcook the steak, so now what you want to do is you want to put it on a nice low heat. Put your tongs to the side. And get a spoon and toss in your butter and garlic. Alrighty, so we've tossed in our butter and garlic, and we removed it from the heat while we're letting the burner get to a lower heat. And so now we can tilt the pan and go with a spoon and then just start flipping all the butter and garlic, and this is gonna make for a beautifully delicious steak. And the butter's foaming, which is perfect, that's what you want. I spilled a little, but it's alright. I'm just gonna take this garlic, place it right on top of the steak. And now you can hear that the sizzling has gone down a bit, so that means that the pan is not as hot anymore. So we can toss it back onto the heat. It's on a nice low heat. And you just want to keep flipping this butter up. And this is going to make sure that we cook the steak evenly throughout. It's going to be nice and delicious. So with steaks, what you can do is with your tongs or spoon, you can just press down and you can feel for the doneness. So this one's almost done. We just have, we're starting to get some resistance, but we just got a little bit longer to go. So now we can keep basting just for a little bit longer, and we'll be perfectly ready in about a minute or two. All right, everyone, so our steak is complete. You can see we have a nice crust. We have the garlic and butter. It's gonna give a great flavor. And now we can put it on a nice clean plate with no raw beef that was previously on it. Look at that perfect crust on that side. You can just see how perfect we did. Now we're just going to toss this onto our plate. And now with a nice big steak, well, first, what you want to do is you're going to want to take your garlic, put that on top, and then you can put a little bit of that butter just on top, some of those butter juices. And this, it smells so good. This is going to taste so delicious. So now all the rest of this butter, you don't really want to pour that because that's going to get too much on it. So now we have our finished steak, our butter, some of our butter, and then some of this garlic. And now we're gonna let this steak, because of its size, we can let it rest for about 10 minutes so it's nice and juicy when we cut into it. So now we've rested our steak, and I know I just put it on a plate earlier, but I actually transferred it to a cutting board so we can cut it open. So yeah, let's get cutting. So we're just gonna brush off the garlic off the top. And this garlic will be really delicious to eat after. So yeah, so you can see there's the fat cap right here and then the eye. I'm pretty sure, hopefully I didn't get that backwards. I'm pretty sure I'm right. But so we can just cut this open. I don't really want to poke into the steak, so I'm just gonna hold it still while we cut. And that is just a nice, perfect medium rare. You can see, hopefully I'm getting that on camera right there. It's nice, perfect. You can see just nicely pink. Oh, perfect. We cutting against the grain. You want to make sure to cut against the grain. And if you don't know what that is, it means you can see kind of like lines going up and down right here. And you want to cut against that so it's a tender bite when you chew. So we're going to finish cutting the steak up. And I'll see you when we've done that. So we've cut the steak up. You can see it's a beautiful medium rare, nicely tender. You can pull apart easy just like that. That's why we cut against the grain and baste. That gives you such a tender bite. You have the garlic. This garlic is nice and crispy. It's gonna be so tasty. And you can just see the steak is perfectly cooked. So now let's get tasting. This is gonna be so delicious. So we have our finished garlic and butter basted steak right here. Perfect medium rare, cut against the grain. You can't ask for anything else. So now we can taste this. Oh my gosh, that is delicious. It's so tender, perfectly cooked, at least for me. I like medium rare. That's medium, that's not medium. Medium is a type of cook, but it's basically the medium between medium well, like well done, and then like raw and like rare. So this is just perfectly cooked in the middle. It's how I like my steak cooked, how most people like their steak cooked. and that is just delicious. Please give this one a go. Just remember, when you're searing it, you just want to sear, get a good crust on each side, and then baste for a couple minutes to get an even cook. You can see that there's really no gray band, just slightly around, but most of this is a perfect, nice, rich pink, reddish color, perfectly cooked. So now, this was delicious. Give this one a go. I'll see you in the next one.